Welcome to Turning Ambition into Action. Leading this workshop is Shalini Sardana, a leadership ambassador at Take the Lead Women.
Thank you for coming. My name is Shalini, and I am going to lead this workshop. I am a leadership ambassador for an organization called Take the Lead Women, and our work is focused on helping women, inspire women, develop, and propel them into leadership roles. And we do that through trainings and workshops. And my background is in design. And what I do is I bring design thinking strategies into my workshops. So that's my background. A little bit about the company. This is the CEO and the founder of the company, Gloria Felt. She has a long career with Planned Parenthood, and she has created this company because she felt the need. We have come to a very important intersection in the women's movement where we really need to push women to go through the doors as the doors are opening. So this workshop is focused more on helping you understand how to push yourself through the doors as the doors are opening. So before we begin, I have these numbers on the board just to put a context in terms of where we are as women of color. So 78 cents is the gender pay gap. We all know that for women. But for women of color, it ranges all the way from 52 to 64, and an average of about 58. So the disparity is a lot larger. 2.7% women are funded out of all the venture capitalist funding that is done across the board. And out of that, a measly 0.2% for women of color. There's a huge disparity and a huge gap that we have to cover. So that's the bad news. So now for the good news. The good news is that research shows in the next 4 decades, by 2060, women of color will actually be the predominant workforce. So that means we will surpass white women they will be at 44%, we'll be at 56. So that means there is a huge potential in the next 4 decades. And in that space between where we are now and where we would like to be is where our power lies, is where change will happen. And that's why events like this help us really brush up our skills and really show up for when opportunities come. So talking about power, and we talked about power before lunch, which was such an amazing segment into what I'm planning to do. I'm just going to ask you guys what the meaning of power is. Just shout out some words, some word associations that you have related to power.
External.
External.
Confidence.
Authenticity. Influence.
Leadership.
Leadership.
Freedom.
Freedom. Thank you. Yeah.
Strength.
Responsibility. And I heard?
Strength.
Strength. Yes. All of these connotations around power. The one that I always hear, and I'm not hearing today in the room, is it's about it's unfair. It is influence that is doesn't work in our favor. That is derogatory. That is it doesn't help us, and things of that sort. That we are socialized in such a way that we are like our ambition. There's plenty of ambition, but in order to ambition to turn into intention, there are multiple blockages. There's so many things that help us, that do not let us turn ambition into action or ambition into intention. Part of the reason is also traditionally we've been dominated by men. So the only way we know power is dominance, is on the other side of the power over. And that's not the kind of power we want for ourselves. So we are like, oh wait, I don't need this. And the other is, like I talked about, ambition. Ambition is the idea that I aspire, I want, I dream. Intention is a deep belief that I can do it. So young girls are told you can do anything you want. Between the fact that they're young and then they become adults, what happens that the gap becomes bigger? And part of that is the socializing. The socializing tells us intention has blockages. So things like, wait, you need to put other people before you, or you're the caretaker. So, put those people ahead of you. So it's important for us to think outside of that. And once we embrace that power, it becomes completely different. The intention becomes to succeed. So we're going to talk about that. And I also want to say this. This is actually a quote from the book by oh my God, I'm forgetting the name. Sally Krawcheck. What is the name of the book? Does anybody remember that?
Yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. So she's running this she's a major player on Wall Street. And then she was kicked out because she believed in her beliefs. And the company said the decision that you made is not right. So she was kicked off, like literally overnight, you're fired. And then she came back with a vengeance and I'll show you what it means to really be an authentic leader. So this is, she says, there's such a confusion of messages we get. We say, go, you want a raise? Go ask for a raise like a man. Negotiate like a man. Hey, but don't do it too much. But be helpful in the office, but don't be too helpful. Go lower your voice to really be heard, but be loud so that you can hear it. What the hell do we want to do? Do we want to be loud or we don't want to be loud? Do we want to say what we want? Do we want to be extra helpful? So there is this mixture of messages. It's all mixed up. And the important thing is that the previous style of messaging is power over. Everything is telling you we have power over. We will tell you how to do it. We'll tell you how not to do it. Or we know only how to be on the other side of the balance. But when we flip that and we say it's from power over to power to, the moment we change power to, it starts to change. That's where actual leadership starts to happen. Power to myself, power to my goals, power to what matters to me as an authentic leader. And that changes. So power to leadership is what creates change. And we think, oh my God, all of the messages that we're getting, something is wrong with us. We need to go back and fix ourselves, go and do some training, go to school and figure out your skills, go figure out how you want to manage this. The message is that you need to fix yourself. And the important thing that we need to understand is there's nothing wrong with us. We women have it the way it is. We are fantastic leaders the way we are. And it's not me just saying it, it's actually research. Now we've come to a point where research is proving this over and over again. So things like when women actually do better than men in core leadership competencies, as research is showing it over and over again, it's coming in. And you put a woman in a group and suddenly the emotional and intellectual intelligence of the room just goes up. Again, proof of that. And the desire to have feminine leadership qualities is something that is a mindset shift that's happening on the thought leadership level. We want more feminine qualities in leaders. There's a best-selling book by John Gerzema on Athena Power. And I can count so many. The fact that it's a bestseller is telling us that we are shifting what leadership looks like, what feminine leadership looks like, and we are embracing that. And then again and again, research shown we put a woman on the head of the team, the ROI goes up, profitability goes up, the retention of the talent retention goes up, team engagement goes up. All of this is proof. And initially we weren't even doing any research. Now we're doing research to prove it. So the power is already in our hands. More women means more money for the economy, regardless of how you see it. More women also means better decisions. Simple as that. We have the power of the purse. Somebody was mentioning that 85% of purchase decisions are done by women. So guess what? We are the ones who are deciding, but how come we don't have the power? How come the products are not catered to us? And how come we don't have a say in that? So we have the power of the purse, power of the education. There are more women coming out of colleges than men. It's as simple as that. We are more educated people are available and women are available. Power in the numbers. We all want equality. We as a group want equality. And then this, of course, power of justice. We all want that too. We want it to be equal for all of us. So we have it. We have everything that we need. We don't need to go out and get anything. We have the power. So the one message we always give in our Take the Lead workshops, and it's a message that our CEO and our founder has always done, is power unused is power useless. So imagine I finally figured you had the power, but it's too late, you haven't used it. So it's important that we understand if there's one thing that you take away from this workshop is this, that power unused is power useless. And any change from the boardroom to the bedroom, any change that we want, that is in our hands. Nobody's coming to open the doors. Nobody's going to help us walk through it. We have to go and get it. And once we embrace that power to ourselves, then the intentionality level goes up beyond recognition and all our internal barriers fall apart. So I'm going to share with you my power to moment, and then we will turn around and share some of it with all of us. So my power to moment came, it's a backstory is that I worked for a few years. And I decided I would take some time off for a multitude of reasons. I wanted to take care of my 2 kids. And I stepped back from the workforce. So fast forward 6 years, I was itching to get back. And I'm trained as a designer. And 6 years is like 2 lifetimes in Silicon Valley. Products come and go and they're gone. So I said, okay, I want to come back and I don't want to start at the bottom of the ladder. The best thing was to refresh my skills. I went back and I did my second master's with my 2 kids, did it over 3 years instead of 2 years because it was taxing. But I wanted the relevant skills. I wanted the skills that were necessary for the workforce. So I was under this impression, okay, wait, I'll finish my master's. I have experience. There's a bit of lag. I'll prove that I have the skills and I'll get the job. Oh my God, what a rude awakening starts sitting on the other side. 30, 40, 50 job applications later, round 1, round 2 of interviews, round 6 of interviews, and then fall. I was frustrated. I said, what the hell is going on? What am I not doing? I have a degree from a great school. I have the skills. I've proven that I want to do. I'm motivated. What is going on? So I went and hired a consultant, a recruiter. And I said, okay, look at my resume. Tell me where have I made a mistake? Where are the gaps? So he said this to me. He says, there's a price to be paid for motherhood. I hope you know that. You cannot possibly think that you'll come back and do the same thing. So I would recommend you make sure that there is that period of time when you were taking care of kids, fill it up with some work that you've done. And, be settled, ready to settle for less. And I thought, wow, 2, 3 years later, I mean, in my case, 3 years, and such a lot of money that went into my master's, this is what I want to do. This is a system that cannot recognize that I want to come back. I am motivated. I have proven to you that I can get the talents, the skills that you need. And it's not even like I'm brand new on the workforce. I've done it in the past. If you can't recognize all of this and give me even a position, the system is broken. I don't want to be part of a system that says, it is not meant for my thriving. It's not meant for me to thrive, let alone, as a mother coming back to the workforce, women in general who are not taking time off or struggling, there's glass ceiling, people like me who want to come back. And like me, there are multiple women who want to come back to the workforce after taking a break for caretaking. And there's no room for that. So that's what I decided. That was my Power 2 moment. I said, I will not be part of the problem. I will be part of the solution. And I will use my design skills to actually be solving real problems for women. And that's when I said, okay, no more looking for jobs. And I'm going to find companies that are helping women step up. And I'm going to find how design intersects with that. So that moment was very, in many ways, very frightening because I was taking a leap off the cliff, like hoping that there will be a job for me out there. But there was a sense of belief that there is a problem and there are solutions and there are people who are doing something around it. And so that Power 2 moment was for me to say, no more. And I'm not going to change. No more power over me. I will have the power to change and define how I want to do it. So I would like you. So I want to share this with you. As a designer, I decided I'm going to use my skills to be change agent for women. And at this point, that's when I ran into take the lead. I was following the CEO who was writing a lot of articles, and I reached out to her and I said, I love the way you're writing. And the funny thing is, I ran into an article that she wrote in HuffPost about how mothers coming back to the workforce should actually put motherhood on the resume. Because motherhood teaches you time management, hello, super time management. It teaches you negotiation skills. Talk to a 2-year-old and try to figure out what it means to make them happy. It teaches you empathy. Like the biggest thing is it teaches you empathy, how to really uplift the entire team. It's your team. It's your husband and your kids and your family. And how can you not recognize that? So at that point, that's when I reached out to her and I said, you know what? I would love to work for you in whichever capacity. And I'll bring my design skills to that. So that's how it is. The training is created and I use my design skills to, design thinking skills to enhance that. But that was my moment. I did not want to be part of this problem. I wanted to be part of the solution. In our program, we have 9 leadership power tools. Because of the constraint of time, I'm going to walk through only 2. And then we do some exercises based on that. So the first one is define your own terms. And we're talking about what it meant to define your own terms. And for you, it was about, we need to have more non-homogeneous spaces. So define your own terms before someone else defines you, is what the full statement is. And the reason for that is we're all going to get defined, regardless of what gender we are, regardless of what our stories are. People will put stories around our faces. People will put some context for us. So the important thing is that the stories that they put, again, for us should be something that we have, we want. So that means you need to own your own story. And that's why you need to define your own terms before someone else does. And I love this quote by Audre Lorde. If you don't define yourself, someone else will. If you don't like it, that's too bad. And she says, I'll be crunched into other people's fantasies and eaten alive. And that's how traditionally we were. We were not defining ourselves, so we would get lost in whether we are a mother or whether we are at work. So important to have a very clear story that you're portraying outside and your very clear terms. Anybody familiar with this photograph? Or the story behind this? No.
Man.
So this is a journalist who did a campaign in the New York subway. And the backstory leading up to this is that women were having such a tough time sitting and finding seats in the subways because men like to spread themselves. And they would literally sit like this, in the middle of the seat, and this seat is gone, and the legs are open, and I'm listening to music, and I'm like, so she was like, okay, what's going on? And they were really getting frustrated. So she launched it. She says, okay, I'm going to see how it feels to take up space. We women don't know how to take up space. She said, I'm going to do it. She did it for a month. And she said, okay, this is how I'm going to go through the subway. And at the end of the month, she really said, I felt powerful taking up the space that I needed to. I was like, oh, I got this. I mean, this is my space. So difference is the power of intentionality is what I'm talking about. This is a joke and this is a parody in terms of what we want to do, but she led with that intention. Can I take more space like men do? And at the end of the month, yes, she could. She was comfortable with the power that came with taking up the space. So the point being, if you have intentionality in what you want to go, what you want to do, you can do it. And that's why we're talking about intentionality. We women have been in the other side of the power spectrum, so we need to learn the language of power, the nuances of power. So some of the things that people say, a woman actually shared this with us. She went to a meeting, and as usual, a man sort of took over and projected her ideas down in the meeting, and then everybody applauded him for all of that. And she said, I wanted to make sure that I wanted to interject, but I couldn't do it. There was no support in the team. So she went up to him after the meeting and politely said, really, thank you for supporting my idea. And, for helping me push my idea. And he looked at her and said, what happened? The point being, she wanted to make sure that she left that meeting with intentionality that I'm not going to, I'm still here and I'm going to try my best to come back and make a statement. So some people say the power of intentionality is to walk into a meeting, women walk in groups, or they make sure that there's somebody else in the group who will voice their opinion. So this is coming into the meeting with an intention that I'm going to be heard. Or when you see another woman voice, you support her in the meeting and say, yeah, I listen, you just said, she just said that, and I appreciate what she just said. Or women generally tend to question themselves, so our statements are always with a question mark. It's as if we are looking for permission. So, the small little things like don't end a question or a statement with words that you say with a question mark, so that you're like, wait, should I do this as a permission? Important to lead with that intention. So you need to understand where that power is and how that. It doesn't mean that you are giving up your values. It doesn't mean that you're becoming a man. It means that you need to understand those skill sets work in the workplace that you're coming in. So you need to speak that language. And I want to just clarify this. I've talked about this. Ambition is very aspirational. Intention puts a stake in the thing. It takes a claim and says, this is what I want, and I know how I want to get it. Ambition can be a very free-flowing state. I would dream, I want to try, I want to do this. And intention says, this is how you're going to do it. I know exactly how you're going to do it. Intention can also be, I want, ambition can be, I want, and intention actually takes you to that goal. So there is a different set of a power of knowing that, yes, it's going to happen. And that is the difference between ambition and intention. Our CEO says this, don't follow your dream. We say, we're following your dream. This is what I want to do. Lead your dream. Take your dream where you need to go, because you're in charge and not the dream. And that's the power of intention versus saying, ambition, take me somewhere. No, I'm taking you somewhere. I'm taking the dream where I want to go. So lead with your dream. The next power tool, which is carpe the chaos. The chaos that's around us, the chaos, sometimes chaos inside our lives. How do you handle that? How do you deal with it? So in terms of what is happening around us, the political instability, all the sexual harassment cases that are coming up, the pay gap, the gender pay gap, all of these things boggle you down. So the tendency is to walk away from it and say, okay, I don't want to engage with it. I'm just, keep it at a distance. This is about really engaging and showing up every single time for everything that is around you that matters. But you're socialized to say, no, I don't want to do this. So the thing the thing that I often tell everybody, and we know this, that chaos is change and innovation that happens happens at the fringes. It doesn't happen when you're at the inside and you're stable. It happens only where things are changing at the borders. And when things are changing, people have a way of looking at it in a different way. And once they look at it a different way, then there are solutions that come. So this chaos that we're living in right now as a woman, we really live in a world which feels completely broken. But the fact is that this is where change happens only when we actually embrace all that chaos that's happening. So as a designer, I work with design thinking, which is I'm not sure if anybody is familiar with it, but design thinking is an innovation tool that essentially thrives on the idea of ambiguities, to say that in order to bring change, we have to keep trying out new things, new prototypes, and see how it goes. Well, this is something from the previous slide that if in any given moment there are two choices you have: either you step forward into growth, or you stay where you are in safety. So that, to your point, instead of being safe, you want to put yourself out there. So this is a quote that helps you understand that. But the idea of being comfortable with ambiguity is the part of the innovation tool that we use. And I use this model for a number of, to explain what I'm trying to say. As designers, when we use design thinking as a innovation tool into, say, the user experience or the customer experience to enhance the customer experience, we tend to try out multiple insights, multiple prototypes based on research, and then so this is where the phase of ambiguity and uncertainty looks like. It's all over the place. It is in many different directions. It looks different. It has many different shades. But that's where the research is, and that's where the concept prototype comes. And once you have figured it out, the other side of innovation. So we're right now living in this chaos. We are. Everything around us is broken. It really feels like it is. But if you just look past it, you'll be like, wait, what is going on here? In order for any change to happen, policies to change, for us women to really step up, we will have to get past the chaos on the other side, which is the innovation. So even in our personal lives, when something like this happens, we think, okay, this is good. Let's go back into what we know. Let's not take any risks. Let's just be conservative with our decision making. And that is exactly what you don't want to do. You want to go with a risk. So this is who knows Ellen Pao here? We are familiar with Ellen Pao. And there's I didn't know that there was a term for the work that she does, the Pao effect. And just to quickly recap what Ellen Pao's story is, that she filed for a gender discrimination and sexual harassment case against the largest VC firm that exists in the Bay Area. Kleiner Perkins is the most powerful, the most successful men run those firms, that particular firm. And when she actually launched her lawsuit, she knew she was going to lose. It was very clear. But the fact is that she still showed up. And on that day when she showed up, the headline said, the fact that she has shown up and she's taking a stance today, she has won. And the reason is not that she has won because of the case she's won. The reason she's won is because she's finally opened the doors for workforce. So this was one of the articles that she wrote recently. This is how sexism works in Silicon Valley. My lawsuit failed, yours won't. Oh. And because of her, there are a number of women who have come forward. The Google scandal happened, the Tesla, the Uber scandal happened, all that, because she led the door. And there was a point in her lawsuit when they wanted to settle with her. They said, okay, come on the side, we'll give you a ton of money and let's just settle this out. You take the money, you're happy, we're happy, we're done. And she says, it's not about the money. It's about the ethics of being a woman and standing up for what matters. So she stood there. Her entire life was disrupted. Her public life, publicly, she was, disgraced. She lost her career, and for many years she was on a downward trend. And then the upward trend started. And then she was given a job at, Couple Capital. She works there as a diversity. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, this is the carpet of chaos. This is saying, I don't want to deal with it. I would rather not, but go and actually face it. Go and actually do it. It's the counterintuitive tool in terms of how to bring change. And she is the poster child. I think she's a poster child for embracing chaos, embracing the controversy that comes with it, and really changing it while we go. So this leads me to you again. think about a moment where, think about the safety spot you have. What is your one thing that you run into and you say, okay, that's it. This is what I'm good at, so I'll just stick to this. And then the following question, we're running out of time and we actually have to stop. The second part of the question is, what would you do to become uncomfortable in your spot? So we'll just recap quickly. Power unused is power useless. That's the one message that I want to tell you. Take it away. Power unused is power useless. Yes. Define your terms before someone else does. And dealing with ambiguity, embracing ambiguity is part of the change that comes. We don't know the path, we will create the path as we go.